You're here and I'm queer and welcome back to my channel. Thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Avisala to all of you guys and welcome back to my channel. As you can see, we will be creating Pirena from Encantadia. I wanted to time this all accordingly in celebration with the sequel of the 2016 reboot of Encantadia. Now's the time. Like, I need to do my big one now. You know what I mean? This is like one of the most memorable and special fantasy series that I grew up watching. In the original story, there are 4 major nations and they all hold a elemental gem. And of course, those are air, water, earth, and fire. I remember loving it so much. So magical for me. So magical. I wanted to make this doll to celebrate the new series that's coming up, to celebrate the original series that I grew up watching. Now, I don't want to promise anything that I will get to all 4 of them. Depends on how this video does. So gather all the Encantadia fans out there so we can create the other 3 sangres. Yeah, we're gonna do our big one. But for now, I do want to make Pirena because she is my favorite. Like, I related to her. Like, I feel like I'm a hothead. I feel like I'm so impatient. I'm very bitter. I'm very emotional. I'm very sensitive. Like, she's such a multifaceted character. Like, she is like a true fiery energy and I love it so much. Now, for this doll, it is going to be my version of Pirena. It's not going to be like a realistic face. It's most likely going to be like anime/drag queen inspired because, as you know, all of my dolls are queens. I think if anything, she's going to have charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent type of vibe, or like see you next Tuesday type of vibe, like a fierce Pirena. For this one, I really wanted to go all out with the fire and the flame details. I really love how Pirena's outfit looked organic in a way. It doesn't look perfect. Of course, I'm going to exaggerate some elements here and there in terms of the color, the textures, you know, how I do things. Before we jump into today's fiery makeover, I want to say a huge thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Squarespace is an all-in-one platform that helps entrepreneurs and small businesses establish an online presence. Their powerful design tools will help you build a website that truly reflects your brand. As an artist, I loved how simple it was to create my own online art gallery. Their user-friendly interface made showcasing my work look and feel effortless. Squarespace can also sell products or services directly from your website. It's an easy way to put your offers up front and give your customers a pleasant experience. With Squarespace payments, you can manage transactions right from your website. You can even offer services like Klarna, Apple Pay, and Afterpay, making checkout smooth and stress-free. So head over to squarespace.com/Hextian to start your free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use code Hextian to save 10% off of your first purchase of a website or domain. And with that being said, Avisala Eshme, and let's get into the makeover. So I found these dolls laying around. I've been trying to use up my doll stash. So I found this Alicia Vikander as Lara Croft head. And I also found a Made to Move Barbie to match the head. So I was like, okay, this is perfect. This is perfect. Of course, let's go ahead and start by cinching her waist a little bit because she is a warrior princess. If she has a little bit of ab definition, I feel like it just makes so much sense. So let's go ahead and modify her waist. I'm not really going for a really corseted cinch waist look anyway, so for this one, I'm just going to use the boiling method for Pirena. I think overall it will give us a more subtle effect, and it will also give us the ab look that we're going for. I usually go for a more dramatic waist cinching look, so this was very hard for me to pull back and try to not go too far with the modification. Now let's go ahead and remove her hair so we can make her a wig. If you're wondering, yes, I could have just used the hair that came with the doll, although it is brown, not black. And also overall, doll hair fiber like nylon or saran as a ponytail is going to be very bulky unless you don't reroute the inside of her scalp, which then that's just way too thin. So I do prefer yarn for this. As always, I will be using acrylic yarn for most, if not all, of my yarn wigs. As you can see, it just starts out like this, and then you just brush it out and you brush it out. For this one specifically, I'm actually not going to be straightening it. I usually have multiple steps, but because I do want her hair to be textured and wavy. But if you've been here, usually I brush it twice with different brushes, and then I straighten it, and then if I need to curl it, I curl it. But I'm like, this one is perfect already. So let's go ahead and start building her wig. I usually start from the back of the head and work my way up layer by layer. I feel like this way you can really see where you're gluing the wefts and where you're putting them, and you just have a little bit more control on the placement overall. I actually initially wanted to add red to her hair, like red streaks or red highlights, but I was like, okay, this might be a little too much. And honestly, it was looking a little way too kind of modern for my personal taste. So I was like, you know what, let's just go for like natural hair. So I thought this was really, really good. And I definitely don't want this ponytail to be super sleek or perfect in any way. So I'm adding a lot more hair strands around it, a lot of hair pieces out to really add to the natural look of her ponytail. I think the original Pirena had a low straight ponytail, but I thought like making it medium high and adding all of these more wavy texture and curls to her hair just adds to it and makes it a little bit more elevated. Oh my god, this wig is absolutely amazing. I love how it came out. I just love the high, well, medium high ponytail, and I love the texture of it. I love how like dark it is and how silky it is, and overall I just love how it looks. Now let's go ahead and start working on her armor pieces, and we will be using a lot of Worbla and hot glue. Let's start by making her headpiece, her fiery crown if you will. To make sure that the crown fits perfectly, we have to build it on top of her wig. So over here, I am just protecting the wig with saran wrap because it will stick to the Worbla when the Worbla is heated up. So let's go ahead and cut out the pieces that we need from Worbla and start building it. The shape of this fire helmet is going to be a little bit more exaggerated and dramatified because, you know, that's just me. That's just who I am. And it's actually going to be covering a lot of her cheek area, kind of really accentuating her cheekbones in a way. So it's taking over a lot of her face, which I think really adds to the fierceness and intensity of her vibe. So like I said, we will be using a lot of Worbla pieces, not just because of the armor, but because of the actual flame details. And oh my god, it was such a pain to heat this up one by one, like how I usually do. So I was like, I need to figure out a way to keep it heated up and warm so that it is malleable and I could just keep gluing it. And overall, I just need the workflow to be faster and efficient. So I wanted to try out this single electric burner. I ordered it and I have it set up in the studio, and then I have water inside this pot, and this white bowl is actually made out of silicone so that the Worbla doesn't stick. Initially, I had the Worbla literally directly onto the pot with no water or anything, and it was sticking. Like, I could not even remove the Worbla pieces, and I even tried it with water, and it was the same thing. It would not really, it wouldn't work. But this method actually works so much better. I mean, it really definitely sped up the process. I just have this on constantly on low heat, and it keeps the Worbla very, very soft, very malleable, very warm, and it's ready for me to just keep gluing it onto whatever we need. And overall, this made designing the flames and posing the flames a lot more fun than heating them up one by one and trying to work with limited time, because they do cool down and, you know, it will harden as you manipulate it. So this method really worked so well, and I was really, really happy with it. Let's wait for the headpiece to completely cool down and set, because if you kind of move things around, the headpiece being wrapped on her face is very, very specific. So it needs to really be solid before I start removing it. So for now, let's go ahead and work on her body armor. I ended up sewing a few things for her behind the scenes to act as a base for her armor. I made her a top, I made her a bottom, I made some gauntlet glove pieces, and I also made her a boot cover. And this fabric may look a little bit crazy, but honestly, it's going to be covered anyway. I did want to use this fabric in case there are some things peeking out, and I feel like it just really looks cool when it catches the light. Just to add a little bit of details in here, although it is going to be covered for the most part, I am going to cover some elements with hot glue just to have some texture. For the most part, most of this is going to be covered completely, but I do like knowing that there is texture, there is details underneath all of that, just in case, because you never really know. I'm taking this 90s Barbie shoe and we will be gluing the boot cover on top of this, so we're going to be completely covering it. And I've done this method a lot for my dolls, but pretty much I just super glue it on top of the existing shoe and I just trim around it. Of course, we're not gluing it onto the bottom of the sole. So you just kind of want to be as clean and neat as possible when you're gluing the boot cover. Of course, we have to add a little bit of texture as well. You know, you never know what's going to be seen. Actually, this part is going to be definitely visible. So yeah, and of course, we have to add the red bottoms. Now, this one is not going to be super perfect. It needs to be natural. It needs to be a little dirty looking. So it's going to be organic. It's an organic Louboutins. And now it's time to cover everything that I just did with red cheesecloth. I think that is the technical term. It's very prominent in Halloween. This is the one that really tatters or tears really, really easily. And I feel like for Pirena, this is the perfect fabric for her. It will like look very organic. Overall doll scale wise, it will look really, really cool. I just cut a lot of the cheesecloth pieces and I just directly glue it onto the base. And this was really, really fun to do because you can just kind of go crazy with it. There's no actual like precision in any way. Like it's just like the vibe. Like you are creating this costume for the vibes in a way. But I mean, of course, I was using reference photos for her, trying to figure it out like for the placement. But for the most part, I was kind of just doing my own thing and having fun with it. I think the most fun with this is really like tearing things out and really making the fabric super distressed looking. It was oddly very, very satisfying. I don't know why. Now we have everything covered with the cheesecloth fabric or the gauze, and everything looks so, so cool. I do want to add some dimension by painting some parts darker, some parts metallic in a way. So I'm just taking my acrylic paint and we are going for it. Be cautious because of course this will make the cheesecloth or the gauze a little bit more stiff and not as flexible, not as flowy, but personally I don't really mind that. Now let's go ahead and make those copper piece elements that she has in her armor. Again, this is like one of my favorite details that she has in her costume, and I just love it so much, so I wanted to definitely incorporate it. I was initially trying to figure out what I could have used for the copper pieces, but honestly, because of the scaling, I felt like hot glue would have sufficed the best, and it did, because I was kind of able to make it organic looking, and honestly, it looked really, really good. I think what really sells the copper ore look is the paint job. And we are doing the same exact thing for her torso armor because it kind of frames it under. So as you can see, I'm just kind of stamping it with foil to really get those organic shape so that the hot glue doesn't look super perfect and super rounded. Like I was stamping it with foil to really give those crinkle effect, to really give that ore rock-like look. Now let's go back to Warbler and cut out all of the armor pieces. Oh my god, this is going to be a lot of pattern that I created. So let's get into cutting them up and transferring them onto Warbler. Overall, including the helmet and the knee guards, I cut up, I believe, 17 different pieces for her armor. So there's a lot of moving pieces for Miss Pirena over here, which is really, really cool. And I wanted to make sure that I mold it after I make her costume so that it fits perfectly, or as perfect as it can be. And now it's time to decorate all of this armor pieces with flame details and lots of Warbler pieces layered together to create the flame-like effect. Initially, I actually wanted to sculpt some of the flame details using epoxy sculpt because I couldn't use that for her helmet because her helmet needed to be malleable in a way. It needed to have some flexibility for her face part specifically. I could not use clay on it because it's going to crack. So I was like, okay, well, to keep everything consistent, let's just make the entire armor piece completely out of Warbler and also hot glue just to blend the seams here and there. But overall, I feel like the Warbler actually came out a lot better than if I was to use clay. The Warbler and hot glue combination just makes the flame armors look a little bit more organic. It really looks like fire and flames frozen in time, and Pirena ended up using it as an armor. I think that's why I love, love, love the original 2005 version of the Encantadia costuming, is because all of their armors look very organic. It looked very elemental heavy. Like Alena literally took some seashells and she made it into armor. I think the 2005 just has more natural feel to it. They just look more man-made and like gathered, like found objects, versus the reboots are actual armor pieces, armor patterns infused with subtle elemental details. Oh my god, just looking at it right now, unpainted, the armor pieces look so cool, and let's get into painting it because I cannot wait. I need to see this in full color. Of course, we are painting every single thing first with a base of red. For Pirena, I definitely wanted her red to be very warm. Because I think of the copper elements, I think it really matches if her fire details is a very, very warm fire and not like a cool tone fire. Of course, we can't just leave it like this. We have to dry brush it with multiple colors. We have to dry brush it with black, dry brush it with a different red, dry brush it with copper, with gold, with everything. Like, we just have to go all out with building dimension for her armor pieces, because that will bring out all of the details that we added with the flames using Warbler and hot glue. Because just with one color, it's going to look really flat, but having the multicolor dimension in there really brings in the sculpted details. I'm having a flashback when I was in the Philippines when I was first watching Encantadia, because this was definitely one of my very first cosplays that I've made. I was bored, so I ended up making Pirena's armor for myself using cardboard, tissue, and Mod Podge. You know, I just had a vision and I was going for it. It was really fun. I ended up making her helmet, her gauntlet, and then I took it to school and I ended up making some for my friends as well with different characters. It definitely did not look like this. I wish I had pictures, but I think for the moment, it was really cool. Oh my god, oh my god, I'm so speechless with how the armor looks. I love the red, I love the deep red, I love the blend of the red, I love the mixture of copper, the gold, and also the yellow gold. Like, this armor, it just has a lot of color in there. It just looks so fiery, and I love it so much. Now let's go ahead and sew it and also glue it onto the base of her costume. Yeah, some parts are going to be glued and then some parts are going to be sewn, so that they retain some flexibility with the doll's movement. Initially, I actually kind of wanted to design this with a blend of the original 2005 and also the reboot in 2016, but because I didn't really watch the 2016, I feel like it wasn't going to be like natural for me to try and create those elements and try to infuse the two together. So I thought, let me just do the 2005 version for now and do my big one on that and add my own details and twist until we see the 2016 version. You guys know I could not resist not adding glitter to her armor, so let's wait for that to dry so we can now move on to her face. I have not repainted this specific head mold, so let's go ahead and try to do our big one on this, and I'm really excited. As per usual, I remove the factory paint using acetone or nail polish remover if it has acetone in it. I then sprayed her face with Mr. Super Clear to prime it so we can actually draw on it with our watercolor pencils and pastels. When I think of Pirena, I really think of fierceness, femme fatale, passion, and intelligence. So I really wanted her to have this warrior-like expression. I want her to look really like she's always ready for battle, and also a little bit of glam, of course. Initially, I wanted her eye color to be red, but because her eyeshadow is also going to be red, I was like, okay, let's go ahead and add some contrast overall. So I ended up going for gold for her eyes so that it looks like it's glowing as well. This doll surprisingly has really high cheekbones and very well-defined features, so we are going to be bringing it out. This is definitely a departure from the original's makeup in terms of like eyeshadow and also lips, just overall glam. This doll just has a little bit more. Again, I feel like if you have so much going on with the armor, the outfit, the overall costuming and everything, your face kind of needs to match that in a way, because if not, it's going to get lost. It's kind of like when a drag queen has a costume but no face. I feel like it's just more satisfying to see everything kind of have the same vibe. If you guys are Encantadiks out there, who is your favorite Encantadia character? Who is your favorite Sangre? Let me know in the comments below. Again, I mean, I am biased with Pirena, but I honestly love all the other 3 Sangres individually, just because everyone is so multifaceted. And wow, I am loving this face so much. I ended up going for a more natural lip for her just because I didn't want her red lip to compete with the red eyes. So overall, I wanted her lips to be a little bit more on the natural side, but she looks absolutely amazing. She looks so fierce and I am obsessed. Oh my god, I am actually really shook with how amazing this face came out. Like, she looks so like... She just looks so intense in the eyes, and I feel like this is very true to Pirena's personality. It's very see you next Tuesday type of vibe, and I love it so much. Oh my god, I'm obsessed. Now let's go ahead and work on her daggers. I want to say a huge thank you to Halo Monster Kid for bringing my idea to life with this dagger, because I was like, I really wanted to incorporate the Hattoria fire symbol in the handle of the dagger. I really wanted the Chris inspired sword. Again, thank you so much, Halo Monster Kid, for helping me create this vision to life. So they 3D sculpted it, and I unfortunately had to resin print it. I'm doing a base of matte black for the entire sword because I feel like when we add silver, it will just pop out so much more. Initially, I wanted to make it chrome, like really metallic chrome, like mirror-like, but I was like, that might look way too futuristic and modern for my personal taste. So I was like, you know what? I think an old-fashioned silver, like gunmetal almost, would look really, really cool. And of course, aging it and making it distress will really add to the old world feel of this particular weapon. I think in the reboot, the 2016 version, they actually ended up naming Pirena's daggers individually, which is Alab and Silab. And I think when it was fused together by Hagorn, it became Siklab. So I thought that was really, really cool that they added names to the daggers and a little bit of backstory. This pair of dagger is so iconic. I am obsessed with it. I'm just super obsessed with the Chris Filipino sword so much, and I will incorporate it if I can incorporate it as much as I can. Obsessed. Now for the fire gem, I did want to initially create this by myself using resin, but I was like, I feel like I can just source this with found objects, so I ended up going to jewelry stores, and I was on the hunt for the perfect size. And this one is specifically inspired by the next generation of the fire gem, which is the teardrop shape. But I found this earring and it had the shape in there, and I was like, oh my god, if I was to try and make this in resin, it would not have the same brilliance as this earring. So I was like, we're just going to cut this up, and that is her fire gem. I attached it to this wire so that it looks like it's floating, and of course we are going to give her another hand pose, an open hand pose, so that it looks a little bit better for her when she is holding the gem. And unfortunately, to this day, I have not found a transparent or clear toothpick or wire that is thin enough for this gem to actually look like it's floating. Like, the most thin that I can find is literally like a coffee straw, which is very thick. So please let me know, but for now, this will suffice. Are you guys ready for me to show you the entire armor? I don't know if you're ready, because I wasn't ready. But you have to be ready. Oh my god, her arm, oh my god, the armor pieces looks absolutely incredible. Oh my god, it may be hard to tell right now, but the glitter is really like, it punches you in the eye. It really does. Like, it really just glimmers in the light. It looks like fire. It looks like embers of fire in there. It just looks so cool. It looks so cool. And of course, I ended up adding a little bit of glitter to the fabric part of her clothing as well, you know, because I can't resist. I cannot resist, but I feel like it looks better too, so. Call me crazy. I mean, can we take a little bit more moment to just admire like the armor pieces, the glitter? Oh my god, the glitter really does it for me. I don't know why, but I love it so much. I feel like it really just brings out the luxury and the magic and the fantasy aspect of the armor. I don't know, maybe I'm just like blinded by the illusion, but I'm obsessed. Now I think it's time for Pirena to armor up. One of the most fun parts with doll customizing is putting everything together meticulously, one by one. And each doll is very unique with the order of the assembly, so this is what it is for Miss Pirena. I am really happy that I am finally able to create this doll for you guys and showcase it on my channel. It is one of my favorite things from my childhood, and I'm so happy that the timing is right this time, and you know, to celebrate the new upcoming season. So I hope you guys really enjoy this doll because I am super happy and proud of it. This is probably the most annoying part because I had to cover her hair so that the helmet doesn't bother and ruin the hairstyle, and I have to cover her face so that it doesn't ruin the face up, and then I have to cut the plastic. I was really afraid that it was going to ruin the hair or the face up, so this was very scary, but it ended up working really well. Avisala Eshma, and now we're done with Pirena.